again, based on right or wrong. For me, looking and going through these different categories really makes me, as a teacher, think about the why behind what I'm doing with the kids. It's not just a box to check off, yes, they have homework. It really is what I'm going to be giving them going to give me the results of what I want to know, that they know. So.
And I think also if we move more into this direction, there is a heavy emphasis on that product component of it. And then teachers have a clear idea and parents have a clear idea of where their student is. And if we do that early in the semester or in the quarter, then we're able to catch that kid before the grades are finalized and they move on to the next year and the next teacher goes, wait, what? Why, why are you reporting a B if you're not at that B level? And so this is going to move our grade books into being a better indicator of what the students are doing, and then that gives our teachers the ability to have some good concrete data that they can use in their classrooms for reteaching abilities and just being that reflective and responsive teacher that we're working hard to become.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go back to the formative, the summative and formative?
Yes.
Slide?
This one.
I understand how those are better than when you're showing the total points, but
Yes.
and yeah, I'm not going to discount that. I mean, kids should do their homework. I get that, but you know, the lazy student, they still have mastered what
Yes.
they do know the material, and they still get an F.
Mhm.
I don't know this.
So the hard thing to do is take grades that were graded in a different system and apply it to the new system and say what if and all these things. So I would imagine that if this was really what was going on, this teacher would look at this 58% and go, whoa, that does not match what you're doing in the classroom. So yes, 100%, I don't agree that the student should end up with an F based off of these being our categories. But now that we've started this discussion about what does a grade mean, what are we putting into each of the categories, why are we assigning these homework assignments, or are these valid tests, that is starting to change the conversations that our teachers are having internally about what's going on in their classroom. So like what Mrs. Hartley said, it's making her look at what those homework assignments mean. And so then you can start having a conversation with Mr. Lazy, who is obviously not lazy, he's just, busy doing other things at the moment. You can have a conversation with him about why are you not doing your homework, okay? Or that teacher can go, wait a second, is my homework relevant if he can get a 0 on all of the homework but still ace my tests? So that's where those conversations start to come in, and we're moving in the right direction.
And to go on the other side of that, like if we were to see a kid that has, a really, really good score with their practice, which tends to happen a lot, and then the not so good score on the test, is it that they're just not a good test taker? Is there some type of additional assistance that we can help with that type of situation? Because I know that my child falls into that boat. So just kind of keeping an eye out for those types of things too. Right.
I have a question. In the category of product, is that, it says independently completed work, is that always a test, or is that, no, not always, because that's the question I was going to say next. Like, I have 2 students who are horrible test takers, and so it doesn't always accurate
Right.
that. So then, to have that be so weighted, do they have an opportunity to be successful if it's not in a non-testing environment?
Right. Yeah, so we specifically said product and not testing quizzes, because this would be your, and we do want to emphasize that it is independently completed work, because we all know that when you're in a group, one person's doing 90% of the work and somebody just disappeared. Like they were non-existent. So we really want this to be that independent work. This could be stuff like, a lab report in science class, or, a writing prompt in English or literature. Mr. Castor was involved with this. I mean, and he had, in his STEM classes, he had, lots to say in terms of that independent project and product type component.
I have a question too. How do you reconcile having homework where is homework on this? Is that the?
That would be this process component.
Okay, so my kids spend a large percentage of time doing homework.
Mhm.
To only get 35%, let's say 90% of the class is homework. Let's take a math class.
Yeah.
You know, most of your time spent in there is on homework, is getting through IXL, is getting through
Yeah.
those types of things.
Mhm.
And then that doesn't really, you don't get that
In the
back.
grade. Yes. And so that is some of the conversations that we had starting early on when we were looking into, you know, what do grades mean?
Right. You're spending so much time doing it, but it doesn't work nearly as much as the test.
Exactly, and so that there is a little bit of a shift, a mind frame of what does the grade mean to the student and to the parents? So this is, you know, this is our first exposure to everybody to what is going on. I will say though that this is already happening in pockets in the middle school and it's been happening for a long time. What we are really proposing now is that across the entire middle school, 6 through 8, this will be what happens. So when you are sitting in the 6th grade math class and you learn that grading system, it's the same one that's in the science class and the social studies class so that way we have a little bit, you know, better grip of what's happening in each of those classes because we do move from one teacher's grading style in the elementary school to 7 teachers' grading styles, and then at 9 weeks we switch out 2, and so now you're looking at the 8th and 9th grading style, and then again you swap out 2 more as you move through, and so really just cementing that across. But I totally understand what you're saying because we do have some students who struggle with that product and they get a lot of anxiety with it. But we're working with our teachers on being reflective, responsive teachers and seeing that those students need help. And maybe the test and quiz is not the end all be all. There's projects involved. There's, you know, a performance task. You know, if you ask a fish to climb a tree, it's always going to think it's a failure. Maybe we start giving that fish the ability to swim and see if we can score them that way.
How does the middle school students feel about it? Have majority been involved in creating this?
There was a pretty big group of us that were together, and then yesterday at the staff meeting, crickets.
Yeah.
It was unreal. So,
Well, so there were 15, so we had our
No
staff
questions.
meetings, right, our staff meetings in terms of building this. And then everyone was given the opportunity to work on the minute details of what we were gonna call these, what the percentages were gonna be, what was gonna be included in each of those. And we have a group of 15 teachers that were involved in that discussion. So about half of our middle school instructional staff was involved there. And then this was sent out to the rest of the middle school. And we literally had one question was, what do we do about late work? And that literally was it. Like that was, everybody had got on, and we really, I think because it was such a teacher-centered, you know, focus, that it really was, this is not me making this and giving it to the teachers. This was the teachers creating this based off of our professional development.
So Mrs. Kikta, does this system eliminate what currently is happening in 8th grade with standards-based
Yeah,
or
so-
3-2-1? So this will be consistent across the entire
The
school, as
whole
you said.
school, yeah.
So it
Yep.
eliminates the
Yep.
standards-based.
Yes, we want to help parents out by giving them, this is what the grading system looks like. That way, when you talk with the science teacher, you're saying the same thing, you're hearing the same thing from the language arts teacher. And so it's much easier to come up with what does that A mean, what does that B mean. My kid has a D in this class, you know, this is one we need to work on, so.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, in your packet, you've had department report for student services, and director of technology. Are there any questions on that?
Dr. Glaze, the only question that I have going through this is curiosity about the launch date for the new website.
The website has been a thing. Right now, we're saying July 1. We actually, about a week ago, right, Bianca, ago, we told them that we didn't like what they had, and we blew it up.
Yep.
And so,
Felt terrible.
yeah, not really, I didn't know. So, we're starting from scratch. So July 1
The menu's gonna be
is our
beautiful.
goal. So, yeah,
Yes.
Good, good.
Next on the agenda is the financial report, and Dr. Blake's got all that.
Yes, as you can tell from your board packet, again, we did begin our $75,000 transfer out of the education fund into the operations fund. Once again, we have not been doing that, but we were trying to watch the balance in the operation fund, and we want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do there. So that being said, so with that 75,000 coming out, it did put us into a deficit of 94,000 in the education fund. And projecting that out, I think we'll probably be okay with some other things that are going to be happening there. Our cash balances in the operation fund, an operation fund is 700,000. Debt service is 1.1 million, and then rainy day is once again 3.2. But again, we just want to make sure that we're just watching every dollar we can in the education fund. The idea of the 64,000 that you see, that does not take into account if we have any kind of raise. Hopefully with the raise will become increased funding, so we'll see how that works. So.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is old business. Last month, we tabled the approval of the adoption of textbooks for social studies beginning with the 21-22 school year. The recommended board approve the adoption of textbooks as recommended for social studies debate PLTW beginning with the 2021-2022 school year. Need a motion?
I move to adopt the textbooks as proposed.
Second? A motion and a second to approve the social studies textbooks for the 2021-2022 school year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is new business and selection of architect for 2022-2023 construction projects. In April, the Board of Trustees approved a request for qualifications for architectural services and design criteria developer services. 5 firms submitted proposals. The Facilities Committee met May 4th, reviewed each proposal and selected the firm. The Facilities Committee is recommending Schmidt as the architectural firm for 2022 and 2023 projects. Motion and a second. First, I guess, are there any questions?
Did anyone want to report out on that? In that committee?
I'll report out on it. We had 6, I believe.
We did have 6. At the
6.
time when I did this, we had 5. So
Oh, okay, I wasn't micromanaging.
No.
So, I believe that we had 6 proposals, and they were thorough and full and impressive. And we spent some significant time going through each of those, and also brought on board Jim Ankrum and his extensive experience in this area. So Jeff Falkenbush recommended that we bring in a community person to help assist with some expertise, and so we were able to do that, and we narrowed it down to 2, and we spent a good hour with them and came up with that these folks would do the best job for us in terms of working with our stakeholders in our community, in our school, with our school board, and really had a good process in place to gather information about really what our needs are to service our students best. And we felt like they would do the best job. I like the buzzword that they continue to use, that they have embedded in their company philosophy of servant leadership, and they want to work really hard with our school to serve our students. So that's where we're at.
Also on the selection committee was Dan Benfield, our facilities guru with the corporation. He had his input as well. Okay. Need a motion and a second to select the architectural firm of Schmidt.
I move to select the architectural firm of Schmidt and Associates for our 2022 and 2023 projects.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration to approve a request for proposals for construction management for 2021 greenhouse initiative. And Community School Corporation is seeking to hire a construction manager as constructor as allowed under Indiana Code 5.32 as amended for a project. As part of this process, the Community School Corporation is initiating a request for proposals for construction manager as constructor services for construction and equipping the Tipton Community School Corporation greenhouse. It is recommended the Board of Trustees approve the resolution authorizing a construction manager as constructor method of contracting and the request for proposals for construction management. The RFP will be advertised twice through public notice on May 14th and May 21st, with proposals due June the 1st. Have a motion for the second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next is consideration to approve Tipton Elementary School, Tipton Middle School, and Tipton High School book fees for 2021-2022. Any questions?
The high school, that's kind of confusing to me. It didn't have like a, what your student pays breakdown. Is it going to be higher this year or?
Yeah, well, it won't, because it'll vary by what the student takes.
Okay.
And so that's where high school is kind of the anomaly.
Okay.
So we give you the cost of the textbook, and over the course of a 6-year period. And so the student is paying rental on that book over the 6-year period. But again, to give you like we would have to do individually, each student, because everybody's different in high school.
And moving to the block 8, do you have to order twice as many books? The student takes it the whole year, is that correct?
That's very much, yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
Okay, need a motion and a second.
I move to approve the book fees for the 2021 school year. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration to approve insurance carriers. Property and casualty, equipment breakdown, and cyber risk, enterprise risk insurance was Assured Partners was set to expire on April the 26th. That has been renewed. Property and casualty insurance, formerly with Wright Specialty, is now with EMC, and equipment breakdown, formerly with Hartford Street Boiler, is now with Liberty Mutual. CHUBB will continue as our cyber enterprise risk carrier. It is recommended to approve the extension of these policies under Assured Partners and accept quotes from EMC, Liberty Mutual, and Chubb for saving us approximately $9,000 this year. Motion and a second.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve our insurance carriers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Next is consideration to approve Tipton Elementary School, Tipton Middle School, and Tipton High School student handbook. Student handbooks for elementary, middle school, and high school have been updated by our administrators. All proposed changes to the 2021-2022 student handbooks are in red in your packet. We recommended they be approved as written. Any questions or comments? If not, entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the student handbook.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the elementary school, middle school, and high school student handbooks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration to approve Tipton Elementary School, Tipton Middle School, and Tipton High School faculty handbooks. During the 2019-2020 school year, administrators and TDA representative worked on faculty handbooks for all three of our buildings. Recommend that the Board of Trustees approve these faculty handbooks as written. Unless there's any questions or comments. Need a motion?
A motion to approve all faculty handbooks.
Have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration to approve Tipton Middle School and Tipton High School athletic handbooks. Mr. Leach and Mr. Fernang have updated the middle school and high school athletic handbooks. Recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the athletic handbooks for Tipton Middle School and Tipton High School. Any questions or comments? Need a motion?
I move to approve the TMS and THS athletic handbooks.
Second? Motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Next is consideration to approve administrator contract rollover and salary changes. It is recommended that all administrative contracts be extended an additional year through 2021-2022, with the exception of Mr. Leach. Since Mr. Leach is transferring to the high school as assistant principal position, he will receive a 2-year contract. 3 administrators are recommended for bumps in salary due to changes in responsibilities of their position. The remaining administrator salaries will be adjusted after approval of the new collective bargaining agreement. So, questions or comments? Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the administrator contract role.
Need a second? Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is consideration to approve hourly rate and days increase for selected classified staff. 4 classified employees will absorb additional responsibilities due to elimination of the lead bus driver and director of operations positions. It is recommended that 3 employees receive an increase in compensation and 1 an increase in work days for the new responsibilities. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the recommended changes. Okay? Any questions or comments? Motion.
I move to approve the hourly rate for the days increase for selected classified staff.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is consideration to give permission to the superintendent to hire permanent and summer school staff between June, July, and August board meetings. This is a busy time of year in filling positions. Schools are in competition to find the best candidate possible. In addition, we do not know what may happen with some teachers who may be looking for other positions or deciding to leave for other reasons. By giving the superintendent permission to hire, we can go ahead and secure qualified candidates without having to wait for the board to act on resignations, and allows us to get the commitment from the candidate before they accept another position. It is recommended that the superintendent be granted permission to hire staff between board meetings in July and August. Any questions or comments?
This is something that we do every year.
Yep. We do every year. Give superintendent leeway to hire somebody during this time.
I move to authorize Dr. Glaze to hire permanent and summer school staff between June, July, and August board meetings.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is consideration to approve summer work hours for central office staff. It is recommended the Board of Trustees allow central office staff flexible hours during the summer. Staff will still work 40-hour work weeks, but will have the choice to work 10-hour days for 4 days with 1 day off per week. This will not impact office hours for the central office that are 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Questions or comments? Need a motion?
A nice option.
Would it be common that an individual would try to contact a certain individual in the office staff with an emergency type situation, and there would be a time where it couldn't be covered by other folks who are currently working that day?
We really kind of all chip in, honestly. You know, whoever is lucky enough to answer the phone. And so I don't anticipate that would happen. But I mean, anything could, but I would not anticipate.
That wouldn't be a typical situation.
I don't believe so.
Probably not in the summer. Need a motion and a second.
I move to approve summer work hours for central office.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next is recommendation to approve E-days for inclement weather during the 2021-22 school year. Following provisions provide to pay for up to 5 E-days for the 2021-22 school year. The E signifies an e-learning day has been selected to replace a normally scheduled instructional day in response to inclement weather or another unexpected, unplanned situation. These days will not accumulate and will be limited to 5 days per calendar year. This type of day would benefit support staff, paraeducators, and bus drivers. It is recommended the Board of Trustees approve E-days on a trial basis for the 2021-2022 school year. Any questions or comments?
So assuming we have a snow day, January 10th, these people can opt to use that day and not come to work, or they can choose to report to work. Awesome.
And this is a system that was developed for Marion schools, correct?
Yes.
And so it's a system that is starting to be implemented in other school systems?
Well, as e-learning days are becoming more prominent, yes, because it makes it really complicated sometimes when we're trying to make, we want to try to pay people, and it makes it very complicated to try to figure out how to compensate them and how to do extra things on those days that they will likely not make up. So it would just be it would be essentially 5 benefit days, very much like a personal day would be, or a sick day. And they would have 5 of those to be able to use. Yeah.
And then the regular schedule, e-learning days, they would do what they normally do, they come in and do some
Yes.
sort of work, so you
Exactly.
pay for that day.
Exactly.
Okay, motion and a second.
I will make a motion to recommend the approved E-days for inclement weather for next school year on a trial basis.
Second. Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is consideration to approve used MacBook Air laptops as surplus. At the end of the 2020-2021 school year, we will have laptops that will become surplus equipment. Some of these computers will continue to be used as loaners for spare parts and to replace damaged and non-functioning laptops where needed. Laptops that are currently assigned to senior students will be made available for purchase by those graduating students or other school staff. As we have in the past, those that we no longer have a use for will be sold to an Apple computer reseller. The number of devices are as follows: 122 senior MacBook Airs and 100 fifth grade MacBook Airs and 30 loaner devices. Questions or comments? Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the MacBook Air laptops as surplus.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Next coming up is some advisory committees meeting. This next week is branding and public relations, and on June the 21st, facilities and technology. The things that are coming up are the last day of school for students is May the 20th, teacher work day 21st. Summer school begins on May the 24th, and graduation is at 11 a.m. at Tilden High School in the gymnasium. Next board meeting is June 8th. And next up is comments from the community.
Gary, I have 2 other reports for the RDC, Boys and Girls Club. Okay, I'll start with the Boys and Girls Club. Just some 2020 data. They had 392 registered members this past year. 85 were teen members. They had 30 teens in the club mentoring program, and they served 104 youth in the summer programs last summer. Just some important dates coming up. Tuesday, May 25th, they're going to have a fun run at 4 p.m. It's gonna start at the park, and they're not exactly sure about the course, but, it'll be a mile and a half run. It's open to K through 12. It's free to members of the Boys and Girls Club, and then if you're a non-member, then it's just $5. And, anyone can take the money, to the office, or, at 3 o'clock before the fun run, you can come and sign up. Let's see, June 18th is their annual golf scramble. I think they're already, getting together a team, so if you have one, you can, send your money in. And then August 14th is the annual, Boys and Girls Club Gala, their big fundraising event for the year, and that will be at the Kelly Museum this year. So you can buy tables for that. And then for the city RDC, a couple of months ago, I mentioned there were 7 properties that the RDC bought from the city and hopes to sell them to residents. We had a meeting yesterday, and we sold 4 of them. So there are still 3 available if anyone is interested in purchasing those. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next up is comments from the community, and Mrs. Rollover has the list.
Wonderful. Thank you for the addition of the podium. So if,
Yeah.
when you're called, if you wouldn't mind coming to the podium so that we can hear.
This is real to the rescue on that.
Mrs. Rail to the rescue. Thank you, Mrs. Rail. Awesome. Okay, first on the list, we have Mrs. Erica Newcomb.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Mrs. Denise Keough.
Go ahead, click the green button there.
And you have to work, you have to step up here.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
There you go.
all right. I'm going to be real short. I know that several of you received an email from Kim Warner earlier this week based on a conversation that several staff members have had. It is a consensus that we do not feel like virtual learning is over yet. And you can ask Mr. Stilson. Kim and I have asked every 9 weeks when we've met, can we please make this next 9 weeks better? Virtual learning is the hardest job I've ever done while I have 20 kids sitting in my classroom. It is also the job that we feel we have been the biggest failures at. We do not want to face next school year going back to the situation that we have been in this school year for either the teachers or the students. Constantly I'm having students telling me, Mrs. Keough, I didn't hear that. Because the student over here has asked me to look at something, I've walked over, I've repeated and answered, but my technology in my classroom doesn't support me getting that information back to the student if I'm not standing at my laptop. We need to do better, whether we're going to have virtual students all year or whether we're going to have the in and outs. Our kids are out for 2 weeks, this one's coming back. I don't know that the quarantine situation is going to end in the next 6 months, but we're asking that you not consider this school year and virtual learning done and then hit teachers with it again in the fall, the week before Thanksgiving when everyone's trying to avoid the big group again. And suddenly we're back in the same situation and we haven't made it better. So that is all we're asking. The email from Kim gave you several examples that I'm not going to get into here, but if you have questions, feel free to contact us, but that's all we're asking is that we not think this is over, or if we do assume it's over, we stick to that. Thank you.
Mrs. Keough, please take this back to your staff. I don't want any of you to consider yourself failures. This has been a nightmare, and I get it. You've done the best that you can do.
But we want to do better.
I agree.
That's the goal, is to always do better.
Thank you, Mrs. Keough. Next on the list is Mr. Matt Higginbotham.
I wasn't actually going to say anything, but since I'm here. The only question I have is I wanted to just get clarification. So on the E5 e-learning days, that's for all non-certified staff, so aides, everybody? Okay, appreciate that because I know that's been, for my mother-in-law, that's a big issue. So a lot of the staff will greatly appreciate that. That's all I need.
Madam
Just so you know, at every meeting I'm at, you say, I wasn't gonna say anything.
I really wasn't, I just wanted, because I know she'll ask and then I'll have to explain. And if I don't get clarification, she'll be angry.
Thank you, Mr. Higginbotham. And our final sign up is Mrs. Luann Millet.
Thank you. I'd like to know the publisher for the social studies books that you're adopting.
There, I believe that it's National Geographic, right?
Is that, the middle school is National Geographic.
And then the high school is like all kinds of different ones.
What's our new name?
There-
Mostly Pearson, I would think.
Yeah, it's Pearson products, but there are a lot of different.
Pearson got bought out by Savant.
It's Savant.
Oh, that's,
Savant?
Savant,
I'm old.
S-A-V-V-A-S.
And what's the cost for registering your child in elementary school, book fees?
We can, I'll print that off and get that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Actually, they're down, so we're saving money.
I knew you said you were going to try
Yeah.
and decrease them.
Yeah, I will print that off for you.
Okay, thank you. And the architectural firm is Schmidt, and where are they from?